Hello, my name is Sebastian Metz, General Manager of the AHK Romania. You are listening to our AHK podcast, Business Wise. It's our monthly podcast releasing outstanding business stories told by state-of-the-art entrepreneurs to our German-speaking audience. And today we will speak English and we will welcome our guest. And we would like to talk about Romanian success stories who made it in Germany. And my special guest for the first edition is Cornel Amariei. Cornel, thank you very much that you're joining us.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Greetings.
Cornel, he's an entrepreneur, inventor, and speaker dedicated to creating impactful technology. A real Romanian success story with lumen. What is this? He will definitely talk about in this podcast. And he develops maybe a teaser. He develops smart glasses that empower blind individuals. Following his experience as head of innovation at Conti Automotive System. So that's why we have also a long story with him. His work has earned global recognition. For example, Forbes Under 30 Europe has awarded him. And lumen is a research startup that is using AI, robotics, and neuroscience to empower the blind. That's quite interesting, we found out, there are 40 million blind people today, and despite all the technological advancement, the most used mobility solution are the walking cane and the guide dog, which everybody knows. And now comes also another very interesting figures is the guide dog is anonymously seen as a good option, but there are only 28,000 guide dogs. And on the opposite, 40 million individuals with visual disabilities. And now there is lumen. Cornel, based in Cluj-Napoca, so it's one of the technological hubs here in Romania. You are the, let's say, founder, but tell us a little bit more about the story of your company. What is your history? What is your story? Who is supporting you, and what do you want to achieve?
Certainly, thank you so much, Sebastian. So let me go from the start. I was born in a family of people with disabilities. Everybody in my family, but me, has a disability, and that really showed me how much technology can help and what a big impact technology can bring to people with disabilities, but also how little technology exists for people with disabilities. So after I had a career in the automotive field where I was head of innovation of one of the largest automotive companies in the world, I came back to Romania to start lumen. And we started lumen from a simple problem. You mentioned some numbers. There are 300 million people with visual impairment in the world.
Okay.
And if you check what solutions they use for their mobility, they use the same two solutions for thousands of years. And that is the white cane and the guide dog, or the service dog, as they call it in the US. And it's true, there are so little service dogs or guide dogs in the world. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. So, for example, last year, we spent 500 million euros on training just 2,000 guide dogs. So to make a bit in comparison, a Bentley or a guide dog, roughly the same price. And when it comes to their number, 20,000 worldwide to 300 million is not a good number, but I can give the example of Romania. In Romania, we have 85,000 blind people and just 21 guide dogs. 21 to 85,000. Those are not good numbers. And actually, that percentage is kind of worldwide. So that's where we came. So we started a company 4 years ago, and we took self-driving technology. So the same thing that makes a car drive itself, we took it and we moved it to the pedestrian side. So we built a self-driving car, but not a self-driving car which drives wheels on the ground, but actually a self-driving car which guides blind people in a wearable, in something we call the glasses. It's a headset. Now, to make a simple analogy of what the glasses do, it's a very simplistic analogy. I will go back to the guide dog. The guide dog simply speaking, works by pulling your hand. That's what it does. It pulls your hand, avoids you from obstacles, keeps you on the sidewalk, stops you at the crossing, etc. That's what the guide dog does, but its main interface is pulling your hand. That's as simple as it gets. What we do with the lumen glasses, as we call them, we do the same thing, even much more than the guide dog. But we don't pull your hand, as we're not on your hand, we're actually on your head. So we actually say that we pull your head because we have this patented haptic interface on your head, and it just feels how it pulls you. It directs you in the direction you have to go in order to avoid obstacles, to stay on the sidewalk, to navigate crossings or curbs or stairs, elevators, all of these things. It is actually the most advanced assistive technology in the world. It's mostly software. It's true, we build our own hardware, but we are a software startup at its core. It's tested by more than 500 blind people at this point with amazing, amazing results. And it's coming on the market incredibly soon. We're actually receiving the CE marking, so the compliance in order to sell it in just a few weeks. And we're heavily waiting for reimbursement programs to cover for it because we want this technology to be either very low cost or for free, paid or reimbursed by health insurances and similar. And even in Romania, that will be possible basically this year. Now, as a company, we started this, I still remember, in the middle of the pandemic, 14th of May, 2020. Remember that, and we're like 6 people back then. Now we're 50 people, and we're 50 people for a while. A year ago, we opened NVIDIA GTC. So the biggest keynote which NVIDIA ever did was opened by us. A Romanian startup opened it. Absolutely amazing. We know Jensen, we know NVIDIA, we work with NVIDIA. Amazing, amazing. But coming back to our continent, we were the first Romanian startup to be accelerated or to win funding from the European Innovation Council, which is the EU's innovation budget. So we were the first ones. We won 9.7 million euros from there, or how the press said, almost 10 million euros. You're like rounding error, basically. Now we just, as we announced, we also announced an investment from the European Union into our company. And from what I know, we are the first startup, even maybe company in Romania to have the European Union as an investor. And it's a huge honor. I was 26 when I started this company. I just, recently turned 30. And now, one of my shareholders is the European Union. Is pretty cool. But then looking back at the most important things, we achieved some things for people with visual disabilities never before possible. The first blind person in the world to go shopping in a large supermarket. It happened with our technology. The first blind person in the world to go hiking in an unknown route without any kind of assistance. It happened with our technology. And there's going to be a few more. I just don't want to spoil them. So yeah, here we are in Cluj-Napoca in Romania, a team of 50 people, center of Cluj, building things which are changing the world. Yeah, that's our story.
Congratulations, big congratulations to your success. Really unbelievable, but true, made in Romania. Tell us a little bit about, a little bit more about the technology. When I understood it right, sorry for this expression, it is like a autonomous driving car you put on your head, and it guides the blinds through the life, let's say.
Yeah.
But is there more that they can see? What is the experience with this with your equipment?
Sure, Sebastian. One of the things which is absolutely amazing is that it's so complicated to describe it in words, but it takes half a minute from the moment you put it on, blindfolded, until you can go out with it. So it's one of those things which words explain it very hard, but practice makes it so simple. So to make, I always like analogies, and maybe let's imagine the following thing. For most people know what a guide dog is, but very few people really intuitively understand how it works, and it's a lot of misconceptions about the guide dog. But let's assume you're on a street. You are blindfolded, or in the worst case, you can't see, and you have somebody next to you. That person next to you, you can ask that person, hey, can you take me to, I don't know, the store, to Starbucks or something? Can you take me there? What would that person do? He will grab your hand and he will pull you, he will take you, he will tell you, okay, let's stop here, let's wait for the crossing, let's wait for the green light, let's avoid this person, and you don't even tell, just avoid you from all those things and help you. If there is a curb or like a step up or a step down, okay, let's go up, let's go down. If there's stairs, the handle is on the right, let's go up. So imagine what a person would do for you if you would be blindfolded, or worst case blind, and you would have to rely on that person. That's what a person would do. A guide dog does less than that. The guide dog doesn't really know where you want to take it. It's a big misconception that the guide dog guides. No, it's the user who guides. The guide dog just keeps you away from obstacles. But now let's go to our technology. Our technology does what the human does. But we don't pull your hand. We pull your head because we are on your head and we talk to you and everything. How it does it, you have to imagine that you feel something on your head, and very specifically on your forehead, which indicates you the direction where you have to go over 100 times per second. So it's instantaneous. If something passes in front of you, it will instantaneously take you away from that and stuff like this. So it's immensely quick. But it's just like somebody's like holding your head and pulling you in the direction where you have to go. It's immensely intuitive the moment you put it on. Immensely intuitive. I would argue it's more intuitive than somebody pulling your hand. And there's some neuroscience reasons for that. We have our eyes, we have our ears, and everything. We have sensorial. Most of the sensorial things for perception, actually all of them, we have them on the head for a very important reason. So it's incredibly intuitive. Now, from a technology side, I'm a geek, I'm an engineer, I love talking about technology. From a technology side, we have 6 cameras on the device. We process all of them real time, some of them even 90 times a second. We process the world, and we do the following things with the information which we have. On one hand, we process it geometrically. What does it mean to process it geometrically? First of all, you have to understand where is the ground. Where is the ground? That's the first level. Where is the ground? Okay, we detect the ground. If there are things above the ground, those are obstacles. If there are things below the ground, like holes or potholes, those are also obstacles. So now, first thing first, that's the ground. Things above and below, those are obstacles. Simple understanding. A bit complex though, and I will tell you in a second why, but that's a simple understanding. All autonomous robotics do that. But that's kind of where they stop. There's only one other type of robot which does more, and that's a self-driving car. The second level is semantical understanding. What do we mean by semantic? Just because something is flat, it doesn't mean it's safe. A road and a sidewalk, they're both flat, but you don't want to walk on a road, you want to walk on a sidewalk. Or I want an example which I absolutely love because it's from the robotics world. If you take like a factory robot, you see factories, robots which deliver goods in the factory on wheels. Cool things, good technological example. Those robots understand purely geometrical. If you put one of those robots in front of a lake, the lake is perfectly flat. They will go into the lake. And that's where you do semantic understanding. Just because something is flat, it doesn't mean it's safe. So that's where we use AI a lot. We have the best AI models in the world specifically for that semantic understanding. Our own data, our own models, we spent millions of euros developing them. And we tested it all over the world because, when you think of a self-driving car, they drive on roads. And roads pretty much everywhere in the world, they kind of look the same. Kind of. There is variety, but they kind of look the same. If you think of pedestrian infrastructure, sidewalks, in Cluj, you have 6 different types of sidewalks. And the more you travel, the more unique it gets. So it's much more complex to understand pedestrian infrastructure because it's much more varied than to understand automotive infrastructure. And that's what we're the best in the world at with our AI. And we tested it from California up to Japan and basically everything in between. And the amazing thing is that we do all of that in a device which can comfortably sit on your head because, in a self-driving car, you have so much space to put sensors, to put batteries, to put computers, and you have a lot of batteries to run them. You don't have them in a wearable. You have to make something small and comfortable, and we manage that as well. With our partnership with NVIDIA, we managed to build something absolutely extraordinary on the head. And at the end, obviously, you have to decide where it is safe to take you. And over like 100 times a second, we compute a safe path, either a general one, just avoiding you from stuff, or specifically to a goal, like close to Starbucks or your home or work or etc. And that's what the device does continuously, in some cases 100 times a second.
Let's jump a little bit to another topic. You were participating also at the Germany Startup Tour, and thank you very much for joining this. What was your experience? Why have you joined this initiative from the AHK Romania? What was the achievement of this? And how was your experience in this activity?
A thing which is incredibly true is that what we do is incredibly hard. It's inhumanly hard. And we always look at all the help we can get. And help means many things. We are a predominantly research and development company. We believe that building products which change people's lives is more important than selling those. I mean, not more important than selling them, but more it brings a higher value to build a life-changing product and invest maybe a bit less in the sales and everything than the opposite. And however, it's also very difficult to get these products to everybody because we want to get them for a very low price. We want to get them for free, there's reimbursements and everything. So one of the things which we do is we find all the opportunities we can get to be helped. And obviously the biggest market in Europe is Germany. And when I say biggest market, what I really mean is that the most people we can help live in Germany. And every market, even though the European Union has the same regulation for everyone, so designing a product is the same all over Europe and it's the same regulation. That's a great thing. When it comes to market entry, every country is different. Mm-hmm. So we look at partners which can help us with that. We look at the opportunities to learn about that market and to meet the people which can help us get to that market. And those people are very varied. Some of them are large corporates. Some of them are health insurers. Some of them are assistive technology dealerships. Some of them are blind associations. Very, very varied. And through the program which we have been through the startup tour, we went to better understand the market, to better understand who our partners can be, and to also find out where in Germany we should be. Because we want to be in Germany. I personally lived in Germany half of my adult life. So Germany is an incredibly important market where we have a lot of people to help. And we're strongly considering having a presence there. So we went back, we applied in the program. We got in. We also won it. That's a nice, cherry on the cake. We went to meet large corporates there. We went to meet finance institutions. We went to meet the large industry. We went to meet startups over there. We understood on a lot of aspects. Fundraising was one of the aspects. Technology was one of the aspects. Financial support was one of the aspects. The difference between different lands in Germany and where we should be and where we have more benefits in being. I mean, what we do, you don't typically get a deep tech startup in Romania. We were the first deep tech startup in Romania. And we want to learn from others which have done it for a longer time than us. And Startup Tour has helped with that. And that we ended up also winning the program, that was also very, very cool.
Congratulations once again, and thank you very much for winning this prize for Romania, let's say like this. Before I come a little bit to our second topic, which I only can touch a little bit, innovation framework here in Romania, I want to ask you also about your priorities for the future. Yes, you have many, but we do not have. We just have a short podcast. Let's say, what would you mention to be the top two priorities? What are you searching right now? Do you need financing? Do you need IT support? Do you need market? What would be the two first priorities that you are now looking at?
Sure. Not financial support. We just closed a big investment round, a very public round. So we have a bunch of new millions in our accounts, and very grateful for that. We're now finalizing the product. The first and second flavors of the products are weeks and months apart from today. And the market entry comes. So that's where our focus is. Focus becomes on market entry, on how do we get a product reimbursed in as many European countries as possible? How do we help as many people as possible? That is our focus. In parallel, because obviously we have a big R&D team and nobody is, R&D is not done. We'll always do R&D. We already started second generation of the product. And, one of the things which I love or hate about engineering and everything is that I am falling in love with the second generation. Like weeks before releasing the first one, I'm already falling in love with the second generation. And the second generation must make the first generation look like child play, like something so old. So we set the goal so high, and I get very excited about the second generation today, because I know how many more people will help with that. Millions more we're gonna help with that. Now, that would be our top priority. So top priority number one, help as many people as possible, which is market into Europe. Second priority, develop the second generation product, which goes into even more markets. That's our number one and number two.
Okay.
And in the future,
Perfect.
In the future, I can give you a bit of a hint of where we're going to use the technology, because what we created is pedestrian autonomous driving, first applied in the glasses for the blind. But we're going to apply it in other things. In 5 years, you're going to order a pizza. Something will knock on your door. You're going to open the door. It's going to be a humanoid robot giving you that pizza. That humanoid robot got to your door because of our code. The same code that today guides blind people, tomorrow will guide humanoid robots.
Wow. Okay. That's another story, maybe for another podcast. Now I want to ask you. Founding a so innovative company in Romania. When you look at the framework, what is here, what is not here, but should be here? In terms of, was Romania the right place for your company? How was the support? How is the scene looking like? Where are the hurdles? Let's talk a little bit about the innovation framework here in Romania.
Sure. I'm trying to choose the right words, but it will be very, very hard. It's horrible. And let me explain. Romanians are incredibly creative. And if you check historically, if you check, I think historically and geopolitically is a simple reason. We are the only Latin language in 1,000 kilometers. We have so many influences. We've been to a communist regime where we didn't have much and we had to live with it. So we are incredibly creative and we have no clue how to use that creativity. But we're very creative. So there's a lot of creativity here in this country, but we don't really know how to use it. What I learned about building companies and building products, I haven't learned in Romania. I learned in my experience half of my other life in Germany or other countries. And I think there are a bunch of us who actually learned a lot of that, not in Romania, but by living abroad. Call me crazy, I came back, but today I think that our story is only possible in Romania, was at that time only possible in Romania. Because we're the first in the world doing what we do. And it was only possible in Romania because here we had the right blend of creativity, craziness, and inner motivation or grit or resilience. We had the right combination and we had maybe the right time. It was mid of the pandemic when we started the company. Romania, recently we also won an important multi-million euro grant from the Romanian state. I'm very grateful for it. It's the first time, the absolute first time when we have a grant from Romania. Romania is the least innovative country in the EU. Official European Innovation Scoreboard, we are the least innovative EU country. Yep. The company which made the biggest impact on that score was us. We are the single entity which had the biggest impact. It doesn't mean that we're not last. We're still last. But we made we are last, but with a bit bigger score. That's the reality of it. But at the same time, I always love being the underdog. I always love being the underdog because the underdog is always hungry. The underdog is always wants to put a fight. Mm-hmm. Something which you easily forget when things are too good. Mm-hmm. Romania does not have a startup ecosystem. You go to 2 free startup shows in Romania, the maximum that they are, and you find out they're the same people, most of them doing the same thing for 10 years. That's not a startup ecosystem. I'm a very competitive person, very competitive. And I never get the feeling of, my God, I have to move faster because there's another Romanian startup doing something and I never get that feeling. Romania has grown tremendously because of outsourcing, but we grow tremendously because of outsourcing because we were cheap. We are not cheap for a long time. And we're not necessarily, despite of all the stereotypes, we're not necessarily that good. We are good people. They are very good people here. Most of them work here in this company, but there are a lot of great people here. But we're not, statistically speaking, it's not something amazing. Yes, we have great people for a bit of a lower cost, but there are places with, why would the US work with us when they can work with South America? Same time zone. What we should do as a company, as a country, we should take what worked on the European level, programs like EIT, EIC, and things which have worked on a European level, and double them in Romania. Give more opportunities in Romania for that. We should insist a lot on financial education and things like this, and entrepreneurship, and creating frameworks in which people can for share ideas, to be connected by them, and free incubate ideas. There are very few opportunities for that. And something which we do very wrongly. We're also very risk adverse. We're very risk adverse. And startups are exactly the opposite. It's about risk. And that also leads to something which I absolutely hate. The only people starting startups in Romania are students. And that's the worst. Because students should not start startups. The reason they start is because that's the only point in life when they can take bigger risks. Startups are games of experience and knowledge, not of youth. Because of 4, 5, 6 startups in this world, which happen to have a student founder, Meta, Apple, and a few more, everybody believes us. No, most startups are founded over 40 years old. I am 30. I'm way too young for what I'm doing. I am not prepared for what I'm doing. And I have global success, but I'm not prepared. And that's something which I think we do very wrongly. And we do not do startups when we're 40, in our 40s, because you have family, you have responsibilities, and you can no longer take risks. And that's why we don't have many entrepreneurs. We don't have many. I know statistically we have a lot of entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs actually hire somebody. We have very few. We have very few startups. When we do a startups, we do in very easy subjects. We do a chatbot. We do a web interface or something like that. There's no deep tech in Romania. We started the first company. Maybe now there are 2 or 3. That's the reality of it. And Bulgaria, for example, much further away than us.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cornel, for your openness. We need this kind of talks because only when we speak out loud what is the reality, and we listen, and then we implement, then we can change the situation here in Romania. I'm very happy that you accepted our podcast. We will not only publish this podcast, of course, but we will also very carefully listen to what your suggestions and recommendations were, and maybe from AHK Romania we can also contribute a little bit to a better startup scene here in Romania, because this is also one part of our mission to help young companies in Romania to grow, and in our case to grow to Germany. And please count on us whenever you need help and support for your market entry in Germany. We would be happy and glad and honored to help you wherever we can. We also cannot do magic, but at least a little bit of magic, I hope that we can. So once again, Cornel, thank you very much. Dear listeners, I hope that you liked our podcast today. Talking about a wonderful success story made in Romania. But not only this, we also touched upon the topic of innovation made in Romania, and what is good, what is bad, where are the challenges. Once again, thank you very much, Cornel, and all the best. A wonderful weekend.
Thank you, likewise.